Hi, folks. I'm glad you're back. And today we're going to hear about what happened after the workers in the temple found a scroll that they didn't know about before that contained the law of God, and how King Josiah handled that situation. The scroll is still part of our Bible, and it's one of the early books of the Bible that early in the front of the Bible comes toward the beginning and has a funny name. Deuteronomy. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It's one of the main books of the Bible in the Old Testament. And when it was found, Josiah looked at it and he read it through and he realized they hadn't been doing everything that was in it. And he thought, oh no, we're in trouble here. Because God said to do these things and we haven't been doing them for a long time. So King Josiah had his officers take the book of the law to a very wise woman. They hoped she could help them figure out what to do. And here's what he looked like when he was sending the book, saying, see, look, we haven't done this stuff. We're in trouble. Send this book, have Huldah look at it. The woman's name was Huldah. I've known a couple Hildas, but I've never known a Huldah. But she was apparently a very, very wise woman, and they trusted her. One good thing that a smart person does is they know who to trust. They know who to ask for help when they don't know what to do. It's okay not to know, but it's not okay not to ask. So even the king knew enough to send this to Huldah. And so they took the book of the law to her, and they hoped that she could help them figure out what to do. When Huldah finished reading the book of the law, she told them, God is unhappy with the kings who ruled over the land before Josiah, but God is pleased that Josiah is trying so hard to do what is right. And that's smart, because we don't hold people responsible for things that they don't know about. If nobody's ever taught them better, then it's not their fault if they do something wrong. But once they do know what the right way to do something is, then it is their responsibility to do it the right way. And that makes a difference. And that's why Huldah was really smart in telling Josiah, it's okay, it's all right. We know things weren't done all this way, but just make the changes. Now you know better, you can do better. It makes sense, makes a lot of sense. So Josiah decided he was going to help other people do the same thing. He wanted all his people to know about God's law, and he asked them to come to the temple. And when they were all inside, he read them the entire book of the law. And the people promised to follow the law. And Josiah made the promise too. And he tried his very best to keep his word. Whenever he saw something in his kingdom that God didn't like, he changed it. Josiah had all the old idols burned. And here's a picture. See, they're burning the statues that people worshipped, and burning the things that they put in the place of God. Things that were getting in their way, things that they let come between them and the Lord. And Josiah had all of those things burned, and the people in his kingdom stopped worshiping the stars and the sun. God was happy that young Josiah had kept his promise. So God watched over Josiah and took care of him and his people. And it was a wonderful thing. He set everything up, and people did really well for quite a while because of Josiah. I was about to say little Josiah, but he wasn't so little anymore. But the things that he learned as a kid, he remembered. And the lessons that he learned then were important later in his life. And not only for him, but they turned out to be important lessons for everybody around him in the entire kingdom. Maybe you can think about what lessons you've learned. Things that are important, but they don't seem so big, but they are big if people forget them. Things like saying please and thank you. Things like sharing. Things like taking care of each other. Things like doing what Josiah did and asking advice from somebody you trust and knowing who you can trust and not letting anything come between you and God. That's the big one, because God loves us all and doesn't want to lose track of us. And God watches over you even while you're sleeping. So if you're worried about anything, forget about it. God's going to handle it. He'll take care of it. Get a good night's rest, because tomorrow's going to be a really good day. Good night.